Hi, it's Izzy Clennell, and today I'm going to be talking about the difference between combined science and triple science at GCSE level. I originally was going to take combined science just because I thought, I'm not that good at science. But then because I was in top set, they just kind of put me on to take triple. And then I thought to myself, well, I'll drop out if it gets too hard. And a lot of people did drop out at all sorts of stages. But I didn't. I stuck with triple science, and I don't think I regretted it because I got 2 8s and a 9 in physics, so that's good. The difference with combined science is that, first of all, it's only 2 GCSEs rather than 3, and second of all, you don't get the grades for the separate sciences. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll probably do better in some than the others, so I don't really want them all jumbled together because I might fail some and pass others and stuff like that. And I wouldn't want it to stop me from taking the one I want, physics, for A-level, but luckily that wasn't a problem for me anyway. When I was doing my GCSEs, schools were still adjusting to the 9-to-1 situation and hadn't really planned for it. So everyone was doing loads and loads of GCSEs. I did 12 if you include further maths, but now schools have understood how much harder these GCSEs are, so the expectations are that people do slightly fewer GCSEs. So I know that you watching, if you're 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years younger than me, might be doing 8 to 10 when you would have done 10 to 12 of the old GCSEs. So these options are going to be more sacred. So choosing whether to do triple or combined might be a lot more of an important decision than it was for my year group. So both of these options have 6 exams, 2 for each science, but the main difference is that the ones for combined are 1 hour and 15 minutes long and 70 marks each. For triple, they're 1 hour and 45 minutes long and 100 marks each. So another big difference is that there's way more content for triple science. So just to put it in perspective, a very small proportion of the content are called required practicals, where you may be asked to describe a method or a diagram or all sorts of things to do with a few practicals that you're expected to know about. So for combined science, it's 21, but with all the triple sciences added together, it's 28. That kind of explains the ratio in terms of content, and also you can kind of see here how fat they all are, and especially in the contents. So for triple, physics is 30% maths, biology is 10% maths, and chemistry is 20% maths, and combined science is 20% maths. So the difference in content varies from science to science. Oh my gosh! So if you do triple, the extra content includes a whole other topic called space physics, and there's also a lot more on waves and a lot more on electromagnetism as well. For chemistry, the main difference is that you also have a lot more on organic chemistry, and there's also the Earth's resources topic as well. And for biology, well, it's a mixture really. There's more on homeostasis and response and inheritance, variation and evolution. So for most of them it's kind of 1.5 more topics. So the entire specification for each science is usually 7 to 10 topics, but when you take triple there's generally 1.5 more topics-ish per science. So there's more content, but is it actually harder? Yes, it is, because the extra topics are the hardest ones in my opinion. And it does make a difference because some of my friends who take combined science looked at the extra content and realised how much more there is. But what I'd say, it's more content rather than ability that's a problem, because for us, our teachers really struggled to finish teaching us the specifications in time. For biology, we didn't finish. But the good news is it was the last topic, which was ecology, and that was relatively easy because I remember doing some of the stuff in year 6, so it wasn't too hard. But the fact that we hadn't gone over some of the stuff since primary school is a bit shocking. For physics, our teacher raced through literally 1/8 of the content in one day. It just wasn't in the depth that he usually goes into. It was kind of pointless really. It didn't go into our brains. Anyone who wanted to understand it would have to teach it all themselves again at the right pace. We understood the stuff, kind of, but it really wasn't enough. And for chemistry, our teacher did manage to finish teaching us on time, but that was kind of because we were taught at more of a constant rate rather than in the other two sciences we were taught more of an accelerating rate. So like in year 9 we did 1 topic, in year 10 we did 2 topics, and then we did like 6 in year 11 in the case of biology and physics. But chemistry was a lot more organised. I imagine that for people in years younger than me though, this is going to be less of a problem, because in year 9 they didn't know what the new GCSEs would involve at that point, so they couldn't teach us it in that much detail. So they just had to go slowly and make sure they laid the foundations correctly in terms of those first 1 or 2 topics. So hopefully people who start in year 9 now, their teachers will understand exactly what they're teaching from the get-go, and so you'll be learning the content correctly. Because it wasn't like I was in a combined set for year 9. Everyone who did triple had the same teachers and stuff as me. The triple, you do have to spend a lot of time revising science. Like literally most of my revision was science revision. If you watch my time lapses or watch my out of context videos or go onto my Studygram and see all the posts, there are a very large proportion that are science, because there's just so much content and you really need to go through it all to get it in your head. Some people, once they've heard it once, it's fine, but most people, they need to go over it a couple of times, and there's really not time for that if you're doing triple. So I'd say if you're choosing whether or not to do triple, the main things you need to consider are, first of all, do you trust your teachers? Second of all, if you don't, do you think you'll be able to have enough time to revise everything? Oh, and also, I would say triple is going to be very useful if you want to do a science at A level, because it goes into things in a lot more detail, especially if you want to understand the world around you in a scientific way. Often the ones that are only covered at triple will go into this sort of thing. So I would definitely recommend it if you are planning on even maybe doing an A-level in science, because it will make the jump a lot easier. So if you want to do an A-level in science or have a career to do with science or medicine or engineering or anything that might be involved with that, then I'd say take it. If you definitely don't think you're going to have a career to do with the sciences, then I'd say you need to consider whether you are going to be motivated to put in the work. If science is your weakest subject by far, I'd say probably don't do it, because it's just going to make that a lot harder. However, if you know that you can change your grades and it's like one of your middle grades, then try and take it. I would say think about whether or not you trust the teachers at your school to teach it you well, but then again, it's really you who is in control. Obviously, bad teachers or good teachers can put you at a disadvantage or an advantage, but it's up to you to decide what happens after that, whether you stick at that level or you get higher and overtake people who had the privilege of having better teachers than you. Because really, you just have to think, how much work are you going to be putting in, and are you going to be willing to prioritise sciences? Because if not, then triple science probably isn't for you. To summarise, I got a 9 in physics and an 8 in chemistry and biology, and all my other grades didn't suffer because I worked for them. So I'd say give it a go if you're on the edge, because you can always drop out at a later date, because it's a lot easier to go back down to combined rather than to go up to triple. That's like impossible, especially in year 11, because really it just depends on how much work you're willing to put in for science, and whether you're going to be motivated to do it, and whether you actually care about science as a whole. So thank you for watching. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments below. Please like, share, and watch my other videos. Thank you.